Hello everyone and welcome back to Wolf, and we are here with Lightfall, who has currently been searching for his friend Lucan, but so far has not had success, and he is just finishing up the last of the night here, resting, and doing pretty well. He's managed to run into a traveling pair of wolves, a father and a daughter, and he's been hanging out with them for a little bit, kind of stopped for a while on his journeys, but he still is determined to find Lucan, and I feel like it's not passing. Maybe oh, okay, there it passed. I was like, why isn't the night passing? But there we go. So we'll go ahead, and he is currently in the plains, not the timber where he was the last time we saw him, but actually in the plains on his way to Yellowstone National Park, although he doesn't know that. And Lightfall himself is actually from, how strong is this? It might be pretty strong. Yeah, it should be weak enough actually. Let's go ahead and, I think we're gonna be pretty strong enough. That might be Cephus. I'm not sure who this is. Is this Cephus? No, that's Drifthowl. So Drifthowl is the young female in Lightfall's pack, and her father Cephus has kind of been trying to set her up with Lightfall. Now, whether or not Lightfall ends up being interested in taking a mate, or whether he continues to pursue Lucan, who was his friend and his only real remaining connection to his sister, who unfortunately passed away a short while ago, we will have to see. But if Lightfall survives for a month here, then he may very well end up showing up in our Wolf Quest series, because we'll say he managed to make it all the way to Yellowstone. If he doesn't survive, then his story will end, of course. But even if something just that's kind of dramatic happens, that might change his mind, or if he ends up seeming like he wants to decide to stay a little bit more with Drifthowl, then he may end up leaving as well, or staying here and not going all the way to Yellowstone as well. It is all a matter of what happens, and it could, we might be leaving territory. I think we're leaving territory. So anything could change, but if he survives for a month and we don't decide to discontinue the series for whatever reason, or at least his part of the series, we won't be stopping the entire series because it seems like you guys are still enjoying it. We'll go ahead. Are we able to catch up to this guy? I don't think so. We gotta keep spooking it, and in fact, we are kind of going the wrong way because the wind direction is poor for this sort of hunting. So what we want to do is we want to run this way and kind of try and cut it off. See if we can spook it the other way. There we go. And we'll go ahead and start scaring it. We want to make sure we're continuing to use sight, because remember, we could have planes or helicopters that show up that can be extremely disastrous. And let's go ahead. It went off this way, unfortunately, so we got to circle around it. Oh, there we go. And we don't want to go too near that human. And who is this? Is this Drifthowl? No, this is Cephus. So Cephus is Drifthowl's father, who is a little bit old for trying all that dispersing and trying to find a mate himself, but who is trying to help his daughter find a mate and kind of just traveling with her. Now, how realistic that is, I don't know. It's probably not the most realistic, but Cephus and Drifthowl are from a pack that ended up fracturing, splitting off. They're the only wolves that ended up, I think not so much even fracturing, but there was some sort of disaster that happened, and they're the only wolves that ended up really surviving it. Are we able to catch up to him? Oh, yes, we are. And we can just jump on him, and dinner. Here we go. We will have our dinner. Our nice caribou dinner. Now, we do want to be careful not to overhunt the area, but I'm a little bit less concerned about it because we're only going to be here for a month. So they're kind of passing through a little bit more. They're kind of almost just as migratory as herds might be. So we'll get a little bit, so it says, humans smile when they're happy and our dogs assume a happy face at times. The wolf and dog happy expressions includes an open mouth, tongue hanging loosely, and ears forward. So it basically just shows that they're relaxed and content and happy. But since they're just passing through, they're kind of as migratory as some of the herds might be. So they're not as concerned about overhunting the prey in a certain area. And we want to make sure that we can go ahead. We're actually going to head back to our den now. because we want to get some water. We're getting a little thirsty, as you can see. And we do want to make sure that Lightfall stays alive. Now, you know, Lightfall and Lucan didn't always get along. They did have... Oops, I didn't mean to howl, I meant to use sight. They did have their skirmishes, but for the most part, they kind of had, especially later on in the series, they started to get along a little bit more. In the very beginning, Lightfall was quite protective of his sister Cloudsong, who actually lost her memory. And he found her, and as her brother was very concerned, didn't really know Lucan or trust Lucan, so when he came back into the picture, he was Cloudsong's mate. He met her in Lost River. Lightfall had actually dispersed from there, and after Cloudsong lost her memory, she did as well. But, is it just saying it's nighttime? We're gonna go get, yeah, it's saying it's nighttime. We're gonna go get water first. The den is pretty close, but there's water right by the den. So, but after Cloudsong dispersed and kind of went the same way that Lightfall had, he reunited with her, but she had lost her memory, and so then when Lucan showed up out of the blue, it wasn't exactly the friendliest of interactions. But as time went on, Lightfall did come to trust Lucan a little bit more, and by the end of it, they were playing around and wrestling just like brothers might. And then, all of a sudden, Cloudsong died, and all of that changed. Lucan got really depressed, and he ran off, and Lightfall didn't have any idea where he went. I mean, he did have a little bit of an idea. He didn't know what his destination was, but he kind of knew the direction Lucan had been heading. And so, after Lucan disappeared like that, Lightfall decided to follow him and maybe try and at least reunite with his friend and his only real connection to his sister. And by following Lucan, if he makes it back, he may end up joining into our Wolf Quest series somehow, whether that would be as part of a side story or possibly even becoming the mate of one of the other wolves. And there is a human, so I think we're going to head this way. But he could potentially even become the mate of one of Lucan's siblings. Probably not our new heir Kaya, because we don't know if he will actually make it through this month. If he doesn't make it through this month, then he's not going to be able to continue at all. So he won't be able to become Kaya's mate. But for future side stories, he may eventually become the mate of one of our wolves. And he's not as old as his age. If we look at his age here, he's not as old as that. He's actually a little bit younger. He's closer to Lucan's age, so closer to 3 going on 4 years. This is a little bit inaccurate because we decided that he and Cloudsong, since they are both dispersals, who had been roaming around for a little while but not too long, were probably actually a lot younger than the game thought they were. So we're saying he's closer to 3 going on 4 years. Let's see. There appears to be a herd of bison. Quite a few bison. I just want to see... Oh, good heavens, no. Oh, goodness. Nope. Nope. That is a nope. Let's investigate the smell. I don't know what the smell is, and it vanished. Okay. There's some smelling things over here, but I don't exactly know what they are. I kind of want to investigate. They keep appearing and disappearing. I think it's because the wind direction is in this way, so it's just kind of indistinct whiffs of a scent. And there are beaver. How are our vitals doing? We're actually getting hungry and thirsty again. We seem to be getting... I feel like we're getting thirstier. You know, it's probably because we're sleeping through the nights. That's probably why, because it simulates for hunger and thirst over that time period. And we didn't do that for most of Lucan's story in Wolf. So we will go ahead and... let's see. We'll go ahead and hunt this beaver, assuming nothing dramatic happens. We have been chased away from our hunts and kills by humans before, and it probably will happen again. And we actually have the whole pack with us. We actually have, I don't know which is which, but you can see Cephus and Drifthowl are tagging along. And the beaver went up this way. It's kind of in between these two different... It's kind of probably off this way a little bit. Maybe. Or not. There it goes. You can usually pretty much break even with a beaver, even by trotting, but running, you can definitely outrun it. So this should be a nice snack to fill us up, and then we'll head back down towards the den and and look for water to get a drink. So that's 9 away. We're gonna head back this way. And this is Drifthowl is closer and Cephus is farther away. So Drifthowl is Cephas's daughter. And Cephus is kind of the slightly overprotective, maybe a little bit controlling dad who's sort of trying to set up Drifthowl with Lucan. Oh, and there's a human up there, so we do definitely want to get away. Where did Drifthowl went? Was that Drifthowl who went up that way, or is that Cephus? That was Drifthowl. I hope she's okay. I think she went to chase that caribou. Yeah, she seems to be alright. There is... Let's go ahead and we'll head back down. There seems to be a cow down here as well. Yeah, we definitely need water. But we really probably don't want to mess with that cow. Messing with cows is a bad idea, although maybe Lightfall would. I don't know. I kind of feel like he's not that desperate. There still seems to be plenty of food. There's several carcasses around. Even though a cow is easy prey, he's really not all that hungry at the moment. So I don't think he'd mess with it. Even if we end up seeing it, I think he'd kind of just leave it alone. So we'll go ahead. There's a cow sort of near the water. He might go poke it and just see what it is, but I don't think he would attack it. Usually attacking cows tends to be a bad idea, because it causes a lot of humans to spawn, and I have heard it can actually make the bounty, which is a variable you can set up when you first start a simulation, but it affects how many hunters there are. It can actually make the bounty on wolves go up, is what I've heard. So we probably don't want to mess with cows. They are easy prey, and in a pinch they can be nice, but if you hunt too many cows, it's bad news. And I just think Lightfall tends to be kind of a suspicious wolf. He was very suspicious of Lucan for sure. He'd probably go check it out and see what it is, but I don't think he would be wanting to attack. So let's just go ahead and see. There is a cow. There's a cow. And I don't think... He smells humans sort of nearby. But I think he kind of just circle it and kind of see what it is and just be like, oh, this thing's weird, and walk off. Smells a little bit too much like a human for his liking. He's gonna leave it alone, and he's gonna head back towards his den to sleep. Get away from the weird human-smelling thing. Maybe take a look at this caribou. No, he's not gonna be strong enough to take it out, so he's gonna leave that alone too. He's a very practical, sort of suspicious wolf. He can be a little bit goofy when in the company of friends, so like towards the end especially, he started to get kind of goofy with Lucan, and they would kind of horse around a little bit, and I'm sure that annoyed his sister slightly, but he is quite a practical wolf. He doesn't really have much time for shenanigans, especially when in the company of strangers. So... it was only as he started to get more comfortable that he started to pull those things. And he's kind of just formally polite with Cephus and Drifthowl. Probably kind of at the point of saying, oh, okay, yeah, Drifthowl is a pretty wolf. She seems nice, but he's really not all that interested. He has bigger things on his mind at the moment. Whereas Cephus is trying to secretly kind of get them together. He's going to go see who this was and what they're up to. Because someone, someone just came down this way. This would be Cephus himself, the older wolf, Drifthowl's father, so he's going to kind of see what Cephus is up to. Do we smell human? I think we're going to bark because, yeah, there's something down there, isn't there? Oh gosh, yeah, there is! Oh goodness, oh, that was way too close. Let's get out of here, Cephus. Yeah, much as you can be a little bit nosy in trying to set Lucan up with your daughter, or not Lucan, Lightfall up with your daughter, I still don't want to see you get killed. I think that's kind of, Lightfall doesn't necessarily maybe like Cephus all that much. He's maybe a little bit, wait. There's humans closing in around. Is Drifthowl okay? Drifthowl seems to be okay. We're gonna head off this way. and not mess with the human. We're gonna get a drink, but there's human that's really nearby. I think we're gonna bark because I don't think he's gonna pay attention to us, though. There is a cow near here, so it makes sense. I think Lightfall doesn't really like this cow. I think he's a little bit upset with this cow. He feels like it's bringing humans nearby. I think if he did kill the cow, it would be more out of... He'll just stand here barking at it a little bit. Kind of see what it does. I think if he did kill the cow, it would be more out of not liking the human scent, not liking the unfamiliar thing. Oops, I didn't mean to put it on autoplay. Put it on autoplay. Why did I do that? Hit the wrong button. Alrighty, here we go. Nope, go off autoplay. It'd be more out of not trusting the unfamiliar, let's see, than it would be out of food. It'd be more like he perceives it as some sort of a threat because it smells like people. But normally, too, wolves are more scared of people than anything, so he probably even wouldn't kill it from that. He probably would just avoid it. Very tentatively kind of creep up on it from time to time and see what it's doing. And is this a haystack? There's a haystack. Definitely kind of a weird thing. I don't know if he likes all these weird little things he's been finding in his territory or in this area. He's kind of, if anything, I think this would be convincing him to move on again and keep following Lucan. And to sit here barking at the haystack because he doesn't like it. It smells weird. It just kind of appeared here. He's never seen anything like it. Doesn't really trust it. I think there's a lot of things that Lightfall doesn't trust. And remember, Lightfall knows human scent well because he and his sister are actually from Lost River, so they're used to all the old human scents, but these are a lot more fresh than what they were used to. So wolves don't always catch the prey they go after. In fact, many more animals escape than are caught. Wolves can achieve speed above 30 miles an hour, but if they can't capture running prey within about 1,000 yards, they usually abandon the chase. That's pretty cool, actually. My dog can go about 30 miles an hour when she wants to. We actually, there was like a kind of a dog event at the park at one point. And, it was pretty cool. They actually came and they clocked her with a radio gun. Well, one of those, you know, those radio things the police use, and they point it and it tells the speed of an object. Well, they actually used that to be able to tell how fast she was going. And they found out she can go about 30 miles an hour when she wants to. And there's a human that way. I think he would kind of run a little bit. He doesn't really like that. He doesn't like the cow they're running towards. But, so it's pretty fast. It is pretty fast. Most of the dogs that I saw that they had clocked... Oh, and it seems like Drifthowl has joined us. They're going to run past the cow. But, most of the dogs they clocked were closer to 25 miles an hour, I think. My dog Sierra was on the faster end, and she is a pretty fast dog, but 30 miles an hour is probably a little faster than the typical domestic dog can run. So, but it is pretty fast. It still is pretty fast, but again, that's at a sprint. They can't keep that pace up. So it looks like it is night. We're gonna head back to the den, which is up here. And we'll go ahead. I smell a carcass pretty nearby, but we're gonna go ahead and we will rest for the night. And we will let Lightfall rest off this night here. Who is this by him? I just want to see who this is. This is Cephus. Cephus kind of is keeping a close eye on him, it seems. Probably kind of spying out, would this be a good wolf for my daughter to take as a mate? Sort of thing. And again, a lot of that is us adding story to all this, but it kind of does add to it a little bit, because this would get really repetitive if we didn't add in some story. But anyway, we'll let Lightfall rest here. He's spent several days kind of just resting with this transitory pack. Transient, that'd be the word. Transitory, I don't even know what that means, if that is even a word at all. But, we'll let him rest for a while, and we will see what happens to him next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out. I'll see you guys later.